Labor dispute could be on its way to the construction site of the Hooper Road Apartments in Endwell. This, according to a local carpenters union looking to continue negotiations for the assignments on interior work on the building. 12 News' Daniel Curran learned the roots of the disagreement.
This was a scene at the construction site of the Hooper Road Apartments in Endwell Monday morning. Representatives with the Council of Carpenters Local 277 warning of a potential future labor dispute.
This has been an ongoing thing for a little bit.
Local Council Rep Ian Williams tells 12 News this started after Krista Construction, who is leading this project, chose a non-union and non-local group to take on the interior work of the building, including drywall, framing, and ceiling. The union is hoping to continue negotiations.
We're not putting on a demonstration. It's not a picket. We're really just trying to get the word out there and get a little attention from the GC in hopes of being able to be brought back to the table so we could continue conversations and maybe get to where we want to be.
Project Superintendent Brian Borth tells 12 News each group was given a fair bidding process and the work was awarded to the highest bidder. However, Williams argues the decision was made for the financial benefit of the company.
They may or may not even pay their taxes, and that also allows for the contractors to not have to provide the proper work compensation insurances, unemployment insurances, and things that those workers rely on in case something were to happen that they need to, they need a safety net.
Williams warns the situation could escalate if these disputes continue.
If it doesn't get to the point where we can have some more negotiations and talks and try and get them to do the right thing, then yeah, it probably will eventually turn into a demonstration or a picket of some sort.
But for now, construction will continue on the New York State housing project, which is expecting completion in 2026. Daniel Curran, 12 News, Broome County.